Roger Marshall, Kansas Senator. Senator, welcome and thanks for coming on. You know, Newsmax has been keeping a close eye on this story, but I'm curious to get your thoughts on the latest findings that have been shared by DNI Gabbard. What do you make of it?
Well, this is the true threat to democracy. The smoking gun is very evident right here, where in the Oval Office, Barack Obama switched what the intelligence community had told him. He dreamed up this story, and why did he do it? Number one is he wanted to delegitimize the election. Number two, he wanted to cripple the president's legacy going forward as well. When I look at something like this, I want to think about a little bit of logic here. You know, what was their motivation? I just described that. Does this particular report, and this is the new report, okay? Congress had never seen this report from the Oval Office. It's consistent with the rest of the story. You all have reported on the FISA abuse, Russia, Russia, Russia. This is the next chapter. And then here's the evidence. Here's the evidence. Here's the smoking gun. Here is a report from the Oval Office itself saying Barack Obama in the room with Joe Biden and all of his cronies saying, let's switch the narrative of the story. Let's say that Russia interfered with the election. Let's delegitimize the election and the will of the people.
Yeah, Senator, you know, I mean, the legacy media it's been 8 years now, I think, that we've been talking about this. I was there for the beginning of it in the White House and on the campaign, and they could not stop talking about it. Now that the truth is coming out, their viewers can't handle it. CNN even pulled out of its live coverage of the briefing, with Chief National Affairs Correspondent Jeff Zeleny appearing to dismiss her findings. Take a look.
We have no idea. I mean, this is hardly information that we should even be repeating. Never mind that it's, you know, some years after the fact, 8 years more than that after the fact, but also just to look at the source. But look, this is the what this White House wants to talk about, and I'm not sure that we should spend that much more time on it, frankly.
Well, they had no problem spending a lot of time on it when it was the narrative they wanted. I mean, can their viewers not handle the truth?
Yeah, I'm reminded of that Jack Nicholson saying, "Mister, you can't stand the truth, or you can't take the truth." But look, here's the truth. Yeah, look at the evidence. Here is a report from the Oval Office. Barack Obama is given a report from the intelligence agency saying that Russia had minimal impact on the election. And Barack says, oh no, let's change that narrative. Let's go out there and delegitimize the election and tell the American people that Russia interfered with the election. Otherwise, how in the world could Hillary Clinton be beaten? Never mind that she was on tranquilizers at the time and to her wits' end, and was craving for all the power she can get. Look, again, this is the threat to democracy. This is the truth that to democracy when the President of the United States weaponizes the entire intelligence agency and the legacy media against the future president of the United States, the duly elected future president of the United States.
Yeah, that was one of the allegations that apparently this report contained, was that Russia had information that then Secretary Clinton might have been on heavy tranquilizers, but held it and didn't release it until she possibly became president. Interesting.
Yeah. Newsmax, again, reaching out to her office to try to get a comment on that allegation. But, Senator, there is some talk on the Hill about the Senate canceling August recess, maybe staying in D.C. to consider, in a separate story, key nominees for the president. Do you believe that will happen? Would it be worthwhile for fellow senators to stay in town?
Well, look, I certainly am out there publicly saying I want to stay. We have lunch together as Republican senators every Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday. I've been very consistent with our message. We need to stay here to fulfill the will of the American people, the 78 million people who voted for President Trump. Look, the political appointees right now that he has in those agencies are drowning. They need their junior members, their colonels, so to speak, to push back on this swamp. I had no idea how deep and wide this swamp is up here. So we need more of those political appointees in there to push back and then go through, fulfill the president's agenda, which is the will of the people. So I'm absolutely committed to staying here. Whatever it takes, we need to get these appointees across the finish line.
Information. Truth. Is freedom. Is Newsmax. It's real news for real people.